even though that hurts going down, you can't spit it out. You have to swallow it. That's the truth.
And with that, we welcome you to Altitude Football, Chad Brown and DMac show. The truth is, well, what is the truth? Davis Webb has been named the new offensive coordinator, but the question everybody wants to know, Chad, who's going to call the plays?
I think this is going to be interesting. We know Davis Webb has called some games in the preseason.
Yes, in fact, because I'm well prepared, Chad. I'm well prepared. Hold on. In that game, it was the 27-7 preseason win against Arizona with Stidham and Ellinger, 402 passing yards, and they rushed for 167 yards. So to be very specific, it was that one game, and that was the result. Preseason.
Right. Now it's preseason. And what the opponent was doing, who they played, what they were working on, where they do any game planning, any of that stuff. So you can't really draw too much of that. Right. But clearly, Sean has given him that opportunity to get a feel for things. I think for Sean to get a feel for things and for Davis to get a feel for things. What this means for next season, I don't know. But I think Sean has to recognize that some of these structural issues that have shown up with the offense fall on his shoulders. And some of that is getting the play calls in late. Some of that is being a bit like things maybe moving a bit too fast for him. He's got to recognize this. He's got to know this. I mean, was it last year he decided that I can't keep blowing play calls if I don't have my glasses?
That's right. That's right.
So he's a guy who's slowly but surely admitting that Father Time is having an effect.
This year, it was the famous, I like working with young people because calling plays as you get older is like driving in the rain. It's the driving in the rain thing. And he also admitted that when he was younger, he would call like a reverse inside of the 10-yard line and not think twice about it on 4th and 8. And now things have changed. And you do wonder if part of the things that have happened and are a problem between him and Bo Nix is just that kind of hesitation, Chad. And I'm going to keep going back to the 4th down call. I don't think we even have to say anything. We just call it the 4th down call. I think that whole process, boy, I'm dying to know what side of the fence did everybody involved with the Broncos, what side of the fence were they on that 4th down call? Because Sean does not regret the decision. He regrets the call itself. And don't forget they called the timeout. Oh, can you imagine what those conversations were like? I'm dying to know. So who was saying what during that timeout, Chad? Who was saying what?
I'm sure Davis had an opinion as well. I'm sure Joe Lombardi had an opinion.
Of course.
Maybe he would be the best source to gather some of this information anonymously, maybe. But again, I think Sean's beginning to recognize that Father Time is undefeated. And so as a play caller, some guys are able to keep their fastball going longer than others. And maybe Sean's just not going to be that guy. And to be able to just to say into the headset to Davis, let's try to get some explosives on this drive. Let's keep it on the ground. Let's chew up some clock to begin to give the theme of the drive rather than the individual play calls. Let's hit him with a trick play. I think Sean may actually, it probably would be a double-edged sword. He probably would miss the action of being a direct play caller, but I think he would recognize he would do a better job managing the game and beginning to give those inputs if he's able to take a step back or two. Mike Vrabel does not call defensive plays. Right. He manages the game. And I would have to say that is the best part of this Patriots football team. Yeah, I know they play good defense. I know Drake May is a possible MVP candidate. I know all those things. But in the end, it's their game management is why they're in the Super Bowl, not because of their play calling prowess. So I think this game management thing gets overlooked and dismissed as if that's somehow a lesser skill set. Well, damn it, it's got the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Right. And listen, you don't have to call the plays, but you can certainly lean over to Josh McDaniels and say, we're going to run the ball heavy. And then that's it. Now, what the specifics are, I don't know, whatever. Who cares, right? You're offering a direction, and it's up to your lieutenants to carry it out. That's it, the end. And if you're not, there's going to be a problem as long as they know the dude who's in charge is really in charge, not going back to the VJ days when who knows who was in charge during the VJ days when he was the head coach. It certainly wasn't VJ, or at least there were enough doubts about it to question if it was VJ. Nobody's questioning Sean. I wonder, too, when you go back to what Greg Penner said, Chad, I listen and I ask questions. And one of the questions had to be, Chad, if this Davis Webb guy is so hot and we like him so much and everybody else likes him so much, why is he leaving us? And what exactly does Joe Lombardi do here? I'm going to guess that those are very, very... Now, Greg doesn't have to tell anybody to do anything. All he has to do is ask the questions, and the answers will tell you what you have to do, right?
Yes. Yeah. And, I think the best leaders are the guys who ask questions and then listen. So I think Penner's on the right path there. And I think those are the questions that you brought up are completely legitimate questions, because let's not forget, before Sean Payton, we had Nathaniel Hackett, who also wanted to call plays and be the head coach, and had an offensive coordinator where we all in the media said, well, what does this guy do?
Do you remember his name? I'll give you a nickel if you remember his name.
I can't. Well, I got two stories. I can't remember his name.
I do. But go
who
ahead.
Was it?
Justin Outen.
There we go.
It might have been Jason. His last name was Outen, like get Outen here. But it was definitely Outen, who famously said when interviewed at like a Nuggets game while he was hammered, what's going to be the difference this year? He goes, score points, and raised a beer, which was hysterical. It was either Jason or Justin Outen, but that's who it was. Anyways, go ahead.
All right, so two stories. The first story being, this was when I was doing Bronco preseason games. And so when they played in Buffalo, somehow there was a screw up at the hotel front desk. And so I get his room. But
okay, all right.
So I walk into his room and I'm thinking, oh, this is nice. I'm a platinum elite Marriott member. I can't believe they left me some alcohol. They gave me some alcohol as a welcome gift for my room. And I open up the card, Coach Outen. Here's, I think it was whiskey.
Booze?
His 4 shooters of whiskey, some ice.
Wow. Wow.
So I'm not sure what to do. And at this point, the Broncos haven't arrived yet. So I'm like, well, it is a preseason game. I'm going to talk to Coach Hackett. I'm going to talk to the coordinators. So once I'm done with Coach Outen, I'm going to go walk up to him. I'm going to whisper, hey, Coach, I think I got your room. And they left something in the room for you that you probably want. So after the meeting, I say that to him. And he's like, oh, no, man, you go ahead. You keep it. It's fine. I'll get some more. So as soon as that game was over, I passed shooters out to the rest of the Broncos preseason crew. Here, Steve Levy.
This is from
Here,
Coach
Ryan
Outen.
Harris.
Yeah, Coach Outen wanted us to have a good time.
Yes. So that's story number 1. Story number 2 is I did ask him before the Broncos' first preseason game that year. Okay, man, you're offensive coordinator. What do you do since you aren't the play caller?
Yeah.
And he broke it down. He's like, I have to walk around and go to all the various coaches' offices and get their inputs. I talked to the wide receiver coach, and this is a route concept that he loves. Well, how do we marry that up with the right pass blocking concept and get with the quarterback? How many steps is that taking? And what kind of pass blocking does the running back coach like? So I take the individual thoughts from the individual position coaches and formulate those together into a cohesive play. And then I work with the play caller, the head coach, to figure out how that's going to fit into our game plan for the week. So he made it seem as if there was some heavy lifting and some, offensive schematic prowess needed to be able to take the wide receiver coach's thoughts of this great route combination and then turn that into a fully thought out play that could be inserted into the game plan.
Yeah, well, that worked out great with Russell Wilson. That was amazing how they figured all that out. There is another coaching move, too, that's part of this. So I want to get there in a second. But first, this from our great friends at Journey Spice.
There's a world of flavor out there. And to find it, you have to take the journey. Journey Spice Company handcrafts the most premium spice and seasoning blends that have no sugar, no salt, are certified USDA organic, non-GMO, vegan-friendly, and always planet-friendly. You are going to love serving amazingly delicious creations while knowing you helped reduce single-use plastics. Make sure to search for Journey Spice Company on Amazon today.
As we love you, Journey Spice. What you cooking tonight with Journey Spice, Chad?
There is going to be some salmon that will be turned into sashimi. So that's usually pretty simple of preparation. No Journey Spice needed on that. But that will be accompanied by some cauliflower rice. And I think it's going to go with the za'atar. Again, I'm just addicted to that sumac, that citrusy flavor in the za'atar seasoning. Turns everything in a much brighter level. Sometimes seasoning can be so garlicky or herb heavy. That sumac, that citrus gives it such a great brightness that's going to, kind of shock your palate a bit. So I highly recommend that one for somebody looking for something different in their spice drawer.
Yeah, that's all za'atar right there. And you can save 10% using the QR code 2026 playoffs at Amazon.com. There you go. That's your tasty treats with Journey Spice. Okay, there's another coach that got hired too by the Broncos, or at least promoted. That's probably a better way to say it. And that is Logan Kilgore, who was like a special assistant, and he moves up to quarterbacks coach. So that's and now I've heard behind the scenes, Chad, he is a rising star. But of course, what else am I going to hear behind the scenes? This guy sucks. No. And he is the brother of Taylor Kilgore, who used to do sports on Fox 31. She's moved on to California with her life, but that's her brother right there. I talked to Taylor. They're very excited for them and the family. It's a big promotion from him. So we got quite a dynamic young duo here running the show. And I'm going to guess this is another accommodation. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve the hire, but I'm going to guess that he is quite close with Bo Nix as well. So now we see the quarterback room and the offensive coordinator. The most important thing they are is aligned with Bo Nix. And we are done with old people that used to be friends with Sean. They're out the door, and we're bringing in the new fellas. What could possibly go wrong for Sean Payton down the line here, Chad? Your take.
I think as a coach, you do have a need to turn over the staff, and you do have to bring in some fresh blood. I think that's an important thing for your coaching room, just as well as the meeting rooms and locker rooms. You need some fresh energy from time to time. So these guys are obviously going to bring that to these positions, but they're untested and unproven in these spots versus the comfort of somebody like Joe Lombardi. Lombardi probably didn't bring anything fresh, and we've never heard Joe Lombardi be discussed as a hot coaching candidate. He's never been called a future star in this league, but clearly he did things right for 15 years by Sean Payton's side to earn that kind of level of longevity and trust. Mm-hmm. So I always find it interesting that Joe Lombardi is being kicked on his way out the door because he never had these terms stuck to him. Yet these other guys who have not proven shit are branded as future coaching superstars. It's a fascinating thing. And what the hell in the media does anyone know about? Does anyone really know what Taylor Kilgore? No, I'm sorry, Taylor. That's his sister. What's his name? Logan. Does anybody know about his coaching skill set and his X's and O's acumen and his schematic ability to draw up the perfect route combination to defeat the best red zone defense in the league? No one in the media knows that. But they print this stuff like it's, actually true. And again, we're coming off a coaching cycle where, pardon me, if I bring up some continual coaching cycle news, 10 openings, no black head coaches hired. Guys who clearly deserved it, guys who have earned their way to this opportunity, Vance Joseph being one of them. None of these guys get hired. And so it's another frustrating time for me and a lot of friends in the league who recognize that there is clearly a glass ceiling that is very, very difficult to break through for them versus some other guys who just get to leapfrog the process. It's a fascinating thing.
Well, do you think they should change the Rooney Rule or maybe get rid of it then?
On one hand, the Rooney Rule is important. So these owners do have a chance to sit down with these guys. And, I'm not sure if the Rooneys, speaking of the Rooney Rule, go with Mike Tomlin, if not for the Rooney Rule and being forced to interview some minority candidates. Clearly, he was a guy who worked out, as evidenced by adding to the trophy case there at the Steeler facility and having no losing seasons as a head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So,
but you know what I'm talking about, because I see it, and I'm sure you see it all the time. This guy interviewed Ronald Curry, interviewed with the Broncos. And in my Twitter feed, oh, it's a Rooney Rule guy. It's a Rooney Rule guy. It's nothing. It's like you're automatically dismissed. It's like, whoa. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's a really good candidate. I can't tell. But the perception is you're a Rooney Rule guy. And I think that is kind of a tough thing to lay on dudes, who qualify or should be qualified for the job. So what do you do with this?
I don't know what you do, because like the Giants clearly wanted Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Yet the Giants have to go through the performative process of adhering to the Rooney Rule and interviewing these candidates. Now, at the same time, you get a chance to interview as a minority candidate. You get a chance to polish up your interview game. You get a chance to meet another ownership group, another front office group. Who knows where that is going to pay off for you possibly down the road. Right. So there's that possibility. But from the New York Giants perspective, they had to jump through all these hoops when they knew who they wanted, when they knew this was the guy who was the most qualified of all the coaches available in this year's cycle. That was the guy that we want to hitch our wagon to. And that's no disrespect to VJ, that Coach Harbaugh has a higher desirability level than VJ at this point in their careers. That shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. So I see all the different sides of it. I'm not sure if it needs to be done away with, but modified possibly. I'd be open to that, and I'd be certainly all ears to hearing what would make this process more advantageous. And again, I don't think any coach wants to be hired because he's black or because a team adhered to the Rooney Rule. They want to be hired because they're a great football coach. And that's the thing. These guys are great football coaches. They just need the right opportunity to come along.
VJ had an interesting comment in this process because he was asked about the preparation because he had so many interviews. And he was like, earlier you had to have the notebook and the folder, right? And prepare all these hours and presentations and all that. And he goes, yeah, not this time around. They know who I am. And it's like, you know me, or you like me, you don't like me. I don't feel like I need to go through all that rigmarole. And it kind of reminded me of like Red in Shawshank Redemption for like his parole hearing. Like, what am I doing here? Like, what, we got to go over this stuff again? Either you're going to hire me or let me go, Red, right? And it's when Red got the most cantankerous and dismissive that they actually paroled him in the movie, at least. And I can't help but wonder for certain candidates, this is what, my 50th interview, like between defensive coordinator, head coach, the circles, like, who I am. Like, this is performative, Chad. And I wonder if that frustration is a real thing for guys like VJ or perhaps Eric Bieniemy or other guys that like get every interview in the book but don't get hired. And I wonder if it's got to be incredibly frustrating.
It's got to be. Now, I worked with Kevin Green when I did my internship with the Jets, and he had his book. And every once in a while, he would say, ooh, I got to put that in the book. And so finally, towards the end of my internship, I was like, all right, man, pull out the book. Let's go through it front to back. Let's do the whole book. It took about 4 hours for him to get through this whole book. It was 300 plus pages.
Wow.
It was everything from the off-season program to how we're going to stretch to the procedures for a practice and what periods are going to be in what order. It was super detailed. Fines, weight room, uniforms, travel dress, everything you could possibly think of that a head coach would have an opinion on or be asked about was in Kevin's book.
Yeah.
And then we finished it up, and I was like, it's weird, because if that takes precedence over 15 years in the NFL with 160 sacks, the all-time leading sacker from a linebacker perspective, if that book that you've put together is more important to some ownership group, I don't think you want to be hired by those people. I think you want to be hired for what you've done on the football field and what you've done coaching, not because of this book that you put together.
Well, that's probably bad news for Kevin. He took a lot of time on that stupid book, Chad. Why you gotta be such a wet flag to poor Kevin? Like,
but I think to VJ's point, I think that's something that you've got to do.
Hold on a second. Did you seriously sit there with Kevin for 4 hours going through his folder? Seriously? Did you really do that?
Yeah, I really did that.
You are the world's greatest friend. Did you also drive him to the airport and help him move? My God. My Lord.
Well, I actually flew out specifically when I was going to be interviewed for a coaching position. And, we spent 2 days going over pass rush in the offseason. And so that was, he gave me 2 days of his time. So I think that was a fair exchange. 4 hours of my time for 2 days of his time. Literally, when I was going to interview for a pass rush coach, we watched every sack of the previous 2 seasons, every single sack in the NFL for the previous 2 seasons. So I could be as full of sack rush information as I possibly could. So, yeah, we were really good friends. And but it speaks to your point about VJ, that VJ is now like, whatever. I don't need to present the book to you. You know who the hell I am. If I was introducing myself to you or to the league, you may need to see all that. But for right now, you want to check my resume? Check some freaking tape. 68 regular season sacks. How about you look at that?
Well, here's the thing on VJ. Because VJ is such a cool dude, a great guy. I'm very curious how that. I wonder if he gets negative marks because he might come across as too laid back and too mellow and not that boisterous sort of dude. And I was going down a wormhole. Maybe you can help me out. Like, who is the most mellow sort of VJ-like personality coach to succeed in the NFL? And I do wonder if some guys just sort of get jobs because, I don't know, Chad, they just have some shtick that sort of works in the interview. I mean, we had Vic Fangio, right? Like with the death by inches, like death by inches. Oh my God, I love that. Death by inches. Let's hire him. Never mind the guy doesn't own a suit and he's looking to be a head guy. How about that? How about the fact the guy, I always called him the hamburger and a steakhouse dude. How about that as a tip-off that he ain't a leader? Never mind, death by inches. Let's hire him. That is such a terrible hire. He was born, and by the way, Vic Fangio was born to be an assistant coach, Chad. Ain't no doubt about it. Like, he doesn't have it. I'm not saying that VJ doesn't have it, but maybe that's the way it comes across. Because I don't know what else it takes for him to get a job. I don't know what else would it be. Like, yeah, okay, it didn't work out the first time with the Broncos. Pete Carroll seemed to get jobs, didn't he? Even though he sort of failed over and over again. It is crazy how incestuous the NFL can be. And no diss on Clint Kubiak, but you don't see where that comes from? The Kubiak Shanahans? I mean, I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve it or whatever, but, like, who do I know around here, Chad? Is that the way it's got to go? And frankly, the fact that you're not in the NFL as a coach is another one of these, like, you got to be kidding me moments, because it seems impossible to get in. But once you get in, Chad, here's the good news. If you could ever get in, Chad, you'd be in for the rest of your life. And I don't even know what my point was. I'm just blabbering on and on about that, all that stuff.
But that speaks to what you just said about VJ, to the difficulty of trying to be a head coach as a black man. Eric Bieniemy, he's too much. He's too combative. He's too over the top. He's too hard on his players. He's too unpolished. VJ, he's too polished. He's too nice. He doesn't have enough fire in him. It's like, what the hell are we supposed to do here, man?
Oh my God, you're so right. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So there's
Todd
a lot of
Todd Modkin. Like, I'm sorry, what? Like,
right.
What's he got?
I spent some time this weekend with a close friend of mine who's a NFL position coach. And, he didn't say all the things that we're saying, but pretty much. And, he's recognizing that, the Kubiaks or the LaFleurs, they're off the Shanahan tree, and the Shanahan tree is hot. So he's actually hoping for his team that one of those kind of guys gets hired, because for the most part, those guys they want to be drawn up offensive plays, and they won't screw around with the defense. So he's a defensive position coach. So he's like, this will be great.
Right,
we'll hire one of these guys, and then me and my defensive coaches, we can do our thing. We don't have to worry about that guy poking his head in, showing up, asking us questions, trying to make us do something we don't want to do, trying to make us put somebody on the field that doesn't deserve to be there. You just go draw plays and do all that stuff that you do, and we'll do our thing. So that's actually what he was hoping for, because he knows Clint Kubiak is not going to be a all over the organizational stamp. That's not his style. That's not who he comes from. Yeah. So there's a yin and a yang to all this, I guess.
Okay. Great conversation as always with you, Chad. You're going out to the Super Bowl, right?
Correct.
So on Thursday, when we, again, Thursdays at 6:00, Mondays and Thursdays with me and Chad, will we be talking to you from the Super Bowl on Thursday? I assume so.
Yes, you will.
Very nice.
I'm not sure where I will be. I will not be at the fashion show like last year.
Okay.
When my wife was walking in the fashion show, so I had to find a quiet spot in the theater.
I remember that.
The fashion show this year is on Friday, not Thursday.
All right.
So that won't interfere with that. So I'm not sure where I'll be.
I'll figure it out.
But we will figure this out, and we will have our conversation on Thursday.
All right. From the Super Bowl. Yeah. So we'll save Super Bowl talk for then. But yeah, the big news today, of course, Davis Webb is officially the OC. We do not know if he's calling plays. By the way, I did reach out. There will be no press conference for Davis Webb. That will not happen, my friends. And I got my friend on that one too.
Okay.
So my guess is we got to keep our eyes out for Sean Payton hucking shit at the Super Bowl, as he does every year. He's always tied into something. So that will be the first question he gets asked while he's trying to sell something on the Pat McAfee show or wherever. I think, unless they don't.
What has he sold in the past? Has he gone like the medication route, like Elway?
I don't know. He's hucking something. Like I'm always blown away that these guys that make millions and millions in salary, it's never enough. Like there's always something else to sell. Sean Payton's going over to like Saudi Arabia to coach flag football. That's happening.
Brady, right? He gets paid like $1 million to do it.
Right? Like yeah. So yeah. Well, I haven't been offered millions to go over to Saudi Arabia for some reason, but I would like to think I would say no. But it's money. Okay, and on that note, Chad, we'll leave the best alone. My man, we'll talk to you on Thursday as you're out there in San Fran, and I'm in my bedroom. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
See you, buddy.
Look, am I ever happy? No.